Welcome back to another episode of Take a Seat Bedtime Yoga. My name is Asit, and I invite you to join me on the bed on this practice as we honor time. Sometimes it's just about slowing things down. Sometimes it's appreciating about the time we have left. But whatever it is, the time is now. So let's get this practice started. Climbing right onto the beds, our comfortable yoga mats for the evening. We're going to come into an easy Sukhasana pose here, keeping our eyes open. We'll take a couple breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth, easing into tonight's session. And when we get to that third or fourth breath, we'll take the deepest one of the day, and as we exhale, we'll close those eyelids and melt everything away. Now we'll set an intention for tonight's practice, creating it at our root chakra here to honor time and space tonight. And we will embrace it at our heart center. And then finally, we'll bring that intention up to our third eye to really set it and focus on it. And when you've set it, go ahead and release it all around you as we begin tonight's session to honor the clocks. So for the first movement here, I invite you into eagle arms. Doesn't matter which way you start, which arm you wrap around first, we'll eventually reverse it. We're going to inhale as we untangle those arms, hitting the 12 o'clock mark. Exhaling, coming back into eagle. Moving with the breath. We'll aim to do 7 on one side, and then we'll reverse the eagle and do 7 on the other. And once you hit about 7, we'll come back to our clock center to move on to our next movement, honoring the 1 o'clock mark. So for this, what we're going to do is bring our arms out to each side, really extending them in a linear direction. Inhaling as we come out, exhaling as we come to center. And we will aim to do 7 on each side, continuing to move with the breath. And once you hit about 7, we'll come back to our clock center, and we will now move to honor the 3 o'clock mark, sometimes known as Siesta hour in Spain. So for this one, we're going to slow things down. We'll wishy-washy our arms on each side, really aiming to get that bicep down to the bed, and tilting our heads on each side, inhaling on one side, exhaling on the other. Really enjoying this slow movement across the width of our beds, aiming for 7 as we move with the breath. When you hit about 7, or simply just dizzy yourself out of it, we're going to come back, and before we move into our next movement, we're going to release some pranayama here. So to release a pranayama, we're going to come onto all fours and we're going to lift our knees up, holding the posture for about 7, just before we move into the next cycle of hitting the 5 o'clock mark. So release all that energy here, holding for about 7 seconds. And then we're going to go right into it. We're going to take our left foot and swing it over, really aiming to hit that 5 o'clock mark. And we're going to use the right side of our body, our knee and our arm, to support us as we lift the left arm up and holding this for 7 seconds on one side, and then we'll come back and release that pranayama again and reflect the whole movement on the other, using the right foot to hit the 5 o'clock mark. All right, and once you're done, we'll release that pranayama once more for about 7 seconds here. And then I invite you back onto your heels, and feel free to grab a pillow to close out tonight's session. So to close out, we'll go ahead and grab all that energy up at the midnight 12 o'clock mark. It's time for bed. We'll honor the time around us, the time we have at our third eye. We will embrace that at our heart center. And finally, we will plant it at our root chakra here before bed. I thank you for joining me live from Boston. Wishing you good night.